Retailers don't fail because they lack technology. They fail because technology does not fix broken operations. And today's guest is Manny, and in a moment, he'll tell us his last name because I don't want to try to pronounce that. But Manny has spent more than 30 years helping global retailers modernize stores, supply chains, and customer experiences, leading businesses responsible for hundreds of millions in revenue while keeping AI focused on real business outcomes, not hype. We're here on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank. We're brought to you by dfypodcast.com, where we handle the podcast backend, editing, publishing, and promotion so you can focus on the interview. And the interview we're focusing on today with Manny is on learning some of these lessons about operations, merchandising, supply chain, enterprise systems, that even if we're not in the retail space, we can learn quite a bit, because with retail, you always hear about how competitive it can be, how things can go wrong, how everything needs to be perfect. So there's quite a lot that Manny has discovered. So we're excited to jump in and explore this topic. So Manny, how do we say your last name and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm Mani Subramaniam, and I'm head retail for Experion Technologies.
Very good. And what do they do?
Yeah. Experion Technology is
What's
basically
Experion?
Experion basically is a technology product development company. And unlike most product development companies, this focuses on business outcomes. So we start from the business end and then work backwards to see what technology and what products will solve a customer's problem. And working that way, we are not touting technologies, we are not touting our skills, but rather our ability to understand the customer's needs and solve their problems.
All right. Understand the customer needs and solve their problems. And it seems like a really tough problem to solve, right? Because it seems like in any store nowadays, any establishment, no matter what it is, like we expect like instant, and we expect perfect, and we expect to like find exactly what we are looking for, don't we?
Absolutely, yes, that's what is expected to happen. And there are many instances where this actually happens. I can quote, for example, every time Walmart opens a new store, and they were opening almost a store a day not very long ago, you would find everything was picture perfect. That store would start making $1 million from day one, accumulating in about $300 million by the end of the year. And that required a lot of background work, a lot of keeping of promises, and making sure that every arm of the retail factory worked perfectly. I've seen that happen. I've also seen instances where that did not happen. And I won't name the retailer, but a large retailer ventured into Canada. They wanted to open up a lot of retail stores. But for 2 months, the shelves were empty. Customers could just walk in and find only shelves as if the shelves were on sale, no merchandise at all. And that was an instance where promises were made but not kept.
Right.
So that's a very, very important lesson that if you make a promise, you should know how to keep it as well.
Yes. So that's for making the promise, that's the easy part, but actually executing in operations, there's so much to that. And so you say that you've seen the good and the bad, right? You've seen it work and you've seen it not work. Like, are there any crucial factors, or like what makes a Walmart that opens up a store a day succeed and others maybe fail?
Uh, a retail operation is something like opening an umbrella. You might have 8 spokes or you might have 10 spokes, and if all of them don't operate in synchrony and do not operate at once together in beautiful harmony, the umbrella doesn't open. And even if it does, it's not fit to function. And that's exactly what happens in a retail environment. You have the supply chain, you have the merchandise, you have the store operations, you have store operators themselves, all coming in harmony and working to a plan and making sure that they place the customer front and center and that they have understood the customer's needs. That over a period of time makes sure that they do not make promises that they cannot keep, and they keep the promises that they have made.
Hmm. And I'm curious about the mindset that goes into this, right? Because you have the promises, you have a plan, and there's so many moving parts, right? Like there's the 8 or 10 spokes in the umbrella. It boggles my mind, even like one Walmart store, how many people are working. And so how do you keep it making sense? How do you keep it all working? Is there like a mindset secret?
It is number one, learning from past mistakes. You don't paper over mistakes. You sit down, analyze what happened, and learn it, and making sure that the next time it happens, you're always trying to do better than you did last time. And more important is making sure that it's a coordinated effort. There are no single heroes in a retail operation. Everybody contributes to the success of the operation, and that's what matters there.
Ooh, okay. Teamwork. And I
Yeah.
know that you talk a lot about growth, right? That in many businesses they say, well, I wish that I had more customers. I wish I had more sales. I wish there was just, more activity happening. But then if the operations, the procedures are broken, then the growth perhaps amplifies the mistakes. So can you speak to some of that? I know you say growth does not solve weakness, it exposes it. So what have you seen in your adventures about the problems of growth when the foundation is not fixed?
Fundamentally, when you want to grow, you need to figure out what can break if I grow. Let's take, I'll move away from a retail example to, let's say, a consulting firm. Let's say I acquire three new uh, uh, clients and you want to start executing from day one. You'd obviously need more consultants on board, which means that before you are ready to do that, you should have interviewed them, you should have onboarded them, etc. And there's a significant amount of activity from many parts of the business that have to go into making sure that they happen. They all need to be well equipped, they all need to be well trained, they all need to have a taste of the culture that you want them to bring to the workforce, etc. So for that to happen, you need to understand what can go wrong if I grow, and you need to make sure that you are attacking that problem and fixing it. And that's where the growth mindset makes sure that you are not looking just at rosy images of what will happen when I grow, but you need to be very, very hard nosed and think to yourself, what is it that with my current operations and current strength and scale can go wrong, and you need to have a uh, determined effort to tackle those aspects of the business.
That's
And
helpful.
if not, yeah. So the question that we often ask is, what will break if you grow faster? If somebody can double your leads, can you follow up very quickly and very professionally? If the sales are double, can you deliver with the same quality, with the same speed, and with the same level of customer service? If more people respond to your marketing, the people, the processes, the systems, and the services are ready for it. So you need to examine each one of these to see which one is the weakest link and fix that before you open a store. And that's what some very successful retailers do.
Right. Measurement. What a concept.
Yeah. And you need to understand that if any weaknesses that you might have are very quickly magnified when you grow. What appears to be static right now, but will appear to be very serious when you grow, maybe 1.5 times, maybe double the scale. And if your processes are strong, then growth can scale them. And if they are weak, then growth will expose them. Usually, that means that you are placing yourself in a position where it's very difficult to recover from a failure
Ooh,
because you've made promises and you're not keeping them.
right. So that can be scary. And so I know that you say like, well, there's many things to be measured, right? And like the obvious is you look at leads and your sales and your traffic, but is there any other factors that you think business owners should be keeping track of?
Uh, Basically, they need to make sure that everything is synchronized and arrives on time. There's no point if you promised a customer that something will be ready at, let's say, between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and if whatever you have promised is not ready until 6 o'clock, you've not only lost a customer, but the customer's friends will also hear about it and move on to some other people. So you need to make sure that you're not only delivering, but delivering on time as promised. That's the key to successful growth.
Ooh, okay. So delivering and on time and as promised. And we're hoping that AI can help us be more disciplined and organized, right? That's the promise, at least. But it seems like there's many ways to go wrong, isn't there? There's like the confusion factor or the overwhelm, and so sometimes you hear little tidbits about how AI can be used to accomplish these goals or how it's used in retail. But what have you seen? Like, where does AI fit into our marketing and into our business execution?
Let me begin by answering the question. You would not begin by asking, what can AI do for me? What you would begin by asking is, what is it that I'm not doing well, and how can I use AI to help that?
Okay.
That's a good way to begin, rather than by using technology, saying that, okay, here's something shiny that I can use.
Yeah.
So if you understand where work is breaking down and try to use AI to fix those aspects of the work that's breaking down, then AI comes in as a natural arm of your business and helps you to function very seamlessly. For a marketer or a business, an example could be a very slow follow-up. You've had some meetings or promises made to a customer, and you might not be following it up quickly enough. And that's where AI might help you.
Mm.
Your messaging might be inconsistent, and AI can help you to fix that. You might not be qualifying your leads. You might not have studied your customer or your prospects well enough to know what they want and where they can be helped. And AI can help you to some extent with that. Again, AI can help you very easily understand the customer's financials to know what is it that's strong and weak about them. And you can then apply your judgment to understand that better. And if there's anything that you're repeatedly doing, then AI can help you to fix it. Very often, AI will not help you to break into new patterns or new processes, but rather strengthen and solidify your processes that are working well.
Ooh, that's extremely helpful. So you're saying don't
Yeah.
look at the bright, shiny object, look at where things are breaking down or not consistent or not fast enough and improve those processes as well. And so in the real world, what have you seen uh, with AI doing this? Like, is there any like story in particular that comes to mind where you've used AI to kind of improve, revolutionize a business?
I can tell you from my personal experience that before I go to a customer, I like to study the 10 years financials to know what promises they've made and what promises they have kept. And I'd like to analyze and get into the background to see, was it the technology, was it processes that prevented them from keeping those promises? And what used to take me a month to do that, now I can do that in a couple of days. It does not mean that I accept the output from AI blindly. I have my own way of validating and trying to make out. AI can often get away with telling you blatant lies.
Mhm.
AI
Sure.
can imagine things that never existed.
Yeah.
So a good degree of validation is required. But once I do that, then it helps me to make the right judgment. Rather than battle data, here I'm trying to figure out what's the right way to do things. And that's where AI can help me quite a lot. I've seen retailers applying AI to quickly inform a customer if a shipment is going to be delayed, or if the price that was promised to them is not the price at which it's going to be delivered. Rather than a customer being disappointed at the time of delivery, they can be alerted to those facts earlier. That's some of the practical examples of where AI can help them.
Very good. So it seems like the thought process is that it's your assistant in a way, right? The assistant goes and fixes these other problems proactively, like say with shipping or pricing, or your assistant kind of helps you with the financial analysis, but you know that your assistant maybe can make mistakes or is not as well trained as you. So they help you shortcut time, but you also go and you verify and you make sure that it's the result is what is expected, right? You don't just blindly trust it. And so you see many things and you have some helpful advice. You're getting me excited to go and clear out my inbox and go and follow up with people, right? That's where I want to be in my mental state. But I also want to make sure that we discuss what is important to you, Manny. So do you think in this conversation there might be a missing question that I should be asking you? I just don't know what to ask you.
Yeah, I think one of the messages that I'd like to leave behind is that promises can be made by marketing, promises can be made by a website, but it's your real execution that keeps those promises. And the customer is not going to understand which part of your business failed. All they know is that your business failed, and there's a very strong possibility that the customer and their cohort will not come back to you at all and will affect your growth plans. So make sure that if you have made a promise, you're checking everything to make sure that you can fill that promise. Every small bit of your business should be geared up to meet that promise. That's the most important one.
Very nice. Okay, so you make that promise and do the extra diligent work to ensure that you fulfill that promise. And if someone says, Manny has made some promises to me today, right? He has given me some advice. And if someone is impressed by what you taught and they want your expertise and they wanted to find out more about you, what are some next steps?
My profile is available on my LinkedIn, and my company is experion both of which are available on the web. And I would be very happy to help anybody who reaches out for help.
Okay, and you're the head of retail and consumer goods at Experion Technologies, and we said that website is experion.global.com. So that's EXPERION global.com. And then you're on LinkedIn, and we'll have the link underneath this podcast. That's Manny, SUBRAMANIAM. And
That's
what
correct.
exact problem do you solve? Like if someone says, I have problem X and Manny will give me solution Y, how does someone know if they're qualified to start this conversation with you?
Fundamentally, I specialize in the retail and consumer goods area, and I have worked in that areas. And while talking to retailers, I have, through my experience, built a sense of understanding both what is stated and what is not stated. And I also then I've worked backwards from there to knowing what technology should be brought forward to help the customers, rather than saying, "Here's my bag of technologies, and you find out what can help you." I have trained myself to understand the problems of a retailer and consumer goods person, and then try to solve them.
That's a much better flow to say, well, here's the problem and then to figure out the solution compared to the goodie bag of here's more distractions. That's wonderful. So you say that you are driven by a passion for transformative leadership and excellence, and you focus on strategic growth advising and business consulting, leveraging that deep experience from previous roles. So find Manny. I'm not even going to try to say the last name. Subramaniam. Did I say that
You
right?
got it. You
All
got it.
right.
Yeah.
All right. I won't try it a second time, but find Manny on LinkedIn. And then that company is ExperionGlobal.com. And before I let you go, Manny, I like to end these by asking about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So does anything come to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Basically, again, I'm at the risk of repeating myself. I say marketing makes promises, but it's only your execution that can keep them. And if you don't keep them, you're going to lose your business and customers as well.
Yes, a valuable lesson. Print that, put that on a t-shirt. Well, very good, Manny, and thank you for taking the time and for helping us out today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Robert.